Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Wood here in the Center Grove Trojan Beat, joined by my colleague Rob Thompson as we come to you this Saturday morning from Strange Brew here in Greenwood. Check them out if you get an opportunity. Best coffee, snacks around in town. We also want to thank More Lawn Care for help supporting our venture in the Center Grove community as we try to bring stories of the people of the community to you on our channel. Today we want to welcome in the Center Grove girls lacrosse team as they join us to discuss their success last season as well as their success they hope to have this year as the season is still early. And we've also brought in their head coach, Craig Jarrett. Rob, welcome to the program.
Hey, Woodsy. Hey, we're here again, aren't
we? We are here. We thank Strange Brew for making that possible this morning.
I do like the intro right when you said, hey, we're at Strange Brew. It was just like the coffee beans were just grinding. So that was a good intro. I don't know how you timed that up, but that's why you're the professional.
You know, this new mixer picks up things a little bit more than the other one did. I don't know if that's good or that's bad, but I tell you what, the smell in a place like this, even though I do not drink coffee, they have the best hot chocolate around.
Did you guys know that? No? Okay.
They're also known for their smoothies.
We're just getting blank stares right now.
Ow.
Because you went on an off-topic of hot chocolate right now.
Yeah, well, I'm very random in the classroom as well.
All right.
And, Rob, as we mentioned, we have Craig Jarrett with us today, who we can stay as a state champion here in the lacrosse program, and obviously a teacher also at Center Grove Middle School Central. Craig, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
To the
Appreciate it, guys.
You know, thanks for making this possible during spring break. I know you've got other things you're probably doing during the break, but let's first kind of talk a little bit about, from the lacrosse program standpoint, your involvement when you first got started with it, and then we'll kind of refresh a little bit about last year.
Okay, so to start, I guess I didn't know what a lacrosse ball really was. I'd never seen a game in person until I was coaching my first game. But prior to that, a friend of mine from Martinsville, goes way back. I was a senior in high school when I was a freshman. Kind of showed me the ropes. We grew up in the same area in Martinsville there. I was kind of picking my brain like a consultant would, I guess, for someone to be interested in coaching here in the Center Grove area. And we'd probably talked, 5 to 6 times. And I'd, naming people I thought would be great candidates for the job. And, once I'd reach out, something would happen to be a snag. Well, they were already doing this sport, or they were doing this sport, or they didn't have the time, or they didn't know anything about the game. And then ultimately, Jason and I were talking one day. I was like, hey, are you trying to get me to do this? He's like, hey, what do you think? And then, next thing you know, here we are. So that's really legitimate how we got started. And then, the joke kind of is that my wife got me a Lacrosse for Dummies 101 book. And
I have a few of those at home.
Yeah. So I have one for social studies too, and a couple topics. But I still have the book, and she, brought it out, and I kind of brought it out to the practice one day, and was like, "Hey, girls, this is what it says to do first." And then that kind of broke the ice, and then, I spent a lot of time on YouTube and trying to figure out how to learn the game, and then, kind of trial by fire, just going and doing it and seeing it and talking to the girls about it. I mean, I still don't know a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. There's still things I'm learning. Well, what do they call that? What's going on here? What's this rule? Or the vernacular they use is different than I would use. So I kind of bring a different coaching background to it. And, the girls are used to different terms, but I bring it up like with basketball. It's like, hey, the point guard, you guys are the wings, you're in the corners, you guys are the X's down low. That's the same, but kind of my own twist and, making plays up from things I've seen or, old basketball plays that I've done before that bring those back. And that's kind of how we got to where we are. As far as the state championship goes, it was certainly a blessing. Obviously, we walk in. I got some serious amount of talent, as you guys can see across from me here. We get some serious intimidation factor as soon as we get off the bus. We just had to change some things around culturally and get the girls to believe in themselves and know what success looks like and how to get it, and realize that once you get it, it's hard to keep for complacency or someone else is trying to take it. And, being in Center Grove, it doesn't matter if you're number 1 in the state or you're unranked, that you're going to get the opponent's best opportunity, best shot every week. So learning those things was really what we need to do. And then, after we kind of came together as a team. The rest of it from last year speaks for itself.
And let's talk a little about last year, the success you had, state championship out of that. You still have a state championship. I call it a trophy, but it's more like a giant, massive state of Indiana wall hanging. Is that going to be hung up somewhere at some point in time? Because that's pretty successful to have that opportunity to get that.
That's our hopes. So right now, I mean, you're looking across from 2 girls that were all state last year, and Emily was the year before that prior also. So our hope is that those pictures, the records, all go into the record book at CG eventually, along with the state championship trophy and the runner-up trophy from the year before. But right now, we're technically an unsponsored club sport. Might be moving to a club-sponsored sport this coming year, and to the IHSAA, June 1 of this coming year, lacrosse will be an emerging sport just on the girls' side. And that means that, we got to follow IHSA rules. There'll be a tournament that IHSA puts together. They do their officiating and things like that. And then if there's growth within 2 years, then it'd be official IHSA sport. And then, that's what we be adopted, obviously, by the high school, and they'd bring us in just as any other sport would be. So that's kind of how the near-term future is looking for that.
So, state championship. What's that experience like for any sport? Obviously, it's exciting for everyone to be involved, but what does it mean to you to be a state champion in lacrosse? So we'll ask the same thing to girls here in a minute as well.
Well, it was interesting because the first 2 years I was here, I was on Coach Moore's staff for football, and the run of the 3 championships in a row, I was in the first 2. So I got to be a part of that. And then, being an assistant versus the head coach is completely different. So coming in and being the head coach and, taking care of everything, and again, having these girls go from, a team that I think we should have beat and didn't beat, and then a team that we got close to beating, which again I was like, we got to win. Like, getting close, there are no, we don't get ribbons here for second place or coming close. Like, we need to beat these teams, and then ultimately we started doing that, and then winning the state championship to me was surreal. And for me it was like. I'm really big, and I tell the girls a lot that you don't want to live with regret. And for me as the coach, I didn't want to wake up on the June 2nd, the day after the state championship game, and be like, man, did I do everything I could have done to get these girls ready? And that was one of my big messages throughout the year was, hey, we got to be ready. I know some of these things we don't want to do, but this is the things we got to do to get where we want to go. And literally from day one, I've asked these girls to do anything I've ever asked them to do. They've always responded with a resounding yes or anything positive, and they just did it and got the job done. I never have to ask these girls twice for anything. So it's really a testament to them and, how hard they've worked to this point to get to do that, to have the opportunity to win a state championship. And, for me, it was literally I feel like I got 2 weeks off, and then the next thing I know, we're starting fall practice again, like trying to run back and do it again. So, there is no sleeping or rest for the weary on the coach's side, as you guys know, but for them, they several went to travel ball right away, like a week off, or a couple of days actually, the day after, right? Yeah, so they left right the day after for travel season, and then they had a little bit of time off at the end of the summer, and then it's nonstop for them. So winning the state championship was an amazing feeling. That was the goal from day one, and that was what we wanted to do, and we went out there and ultimately got it done. So.
And we'll unpack a little bit more. I know, you were a successful high school athlete and went off and played college, so we'll get a little bit about that background. But I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit. And we've got Liv Daniels, Lila Ware, and Emily Franklin. And so let's just let's kind of get into what Coach is saying a little bit and just learn about your experience with lacrosse. What's your journey been like so far? How did it start, especially in Center Grove, where there's so many options, right? You can go play softball, you can go play basketball, you can go play football. We can do whatever you want. Why lacrosse? Like, how are you guys at this point? Where did your journey start in the sport?
I grew up in Pennsylvania and out there on the East Coast. It's really big out there. So I started out in 3rd grade. And then whenever we moved here, we chose Center Grove because they had a team. But my first year here, there weren't enough girls, so my first year I wasn't able to play. And then my second year, there was COVID, so I missed 2 years. And then I started in, I think, 6th grade playing. And then I was always pushed to play volleyball or basketball just because my height.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Okay. Yep.
And my dad always wanted me to play basketball because he played in college, but I just never really grew a connection to it.
Yep.
And with lacrosse, I did, and then I just continued on from there. And yeah, it was really exciting. It's very different from, I feel like, every other sport. It combines everything together, and it has its own twist. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That was Emily. Lila, what about you?
So I grew up in Michigan, and my brother started to play.
Are you recruiting here, Coach?
Hey, the NIL deal is coming this way. Yeah.
But my brother started to play, and of course, as the little sister, you always want to do what your older sibling does. So we moved here, and I went to Franklin, but we saw that Center Grove had a team, so I started to play. I started in the 3rd grade, so I played up with the 5th graders, and I was the smallest on the field. Not very good at all, but continue to go and practice with my brother, and then eventually I became one of the biggest on the field and realized that this is actually really fun. And so I did competitive cheer at the time too, so I quit competitive cheer and just stuck with lacrosse and stuck with it, did travel, met my best friend Emily, and just kept practicing with her, and then turned into my love. I love lacrosse, love playing, and I'm super excited to continue in the future.
And are you all right? So seniors?
Seniors.
All 3 seniors. Okay. All right.
Well, unlike Emily and Lila, I did not play when I was younger. I did competitive gymnastics for my whole life, for 12 years, and I moved to Center Grove my junior year, so I've only been here for 2 years. I got recruited by all my friends to come out and play.
And recruited within the school, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah.
I had multiple friends that played, and they were like, just come out and try it. So I came in last year in January, and I started playing. Was really nervous because they're all really good. They're twice my size on the field. Not like what I expected to be, and then I learned I was actually pretty decent. Coach kept pushing me to do my best and all my teammates, and now I'm a captain and a starter, and I've met some of my best friends and a lot of good memories with it.
Awesome. So just talking about this season, where are we at in the season right now? Go ahead, Lila. Where are we at in the season? Give us an update on the season.
We're about halfway into the season. We've played 8 games so far. We're 5-3, but our only 3 losses are to the best 3 teams in the state, and one of them's nationally ranked in the Midwest, so they're ranked number 10. So
who are the teams out there in the state that you're gunning for? That is Center Grove part of that group? Are you guys part of that group, or is it still a growing thing? What's it look like? What's the landscape of the competition out there?
So in 2A, we're ranked number, I think, 10 still, which is in the middle of the pack. So I wouldn't say it's bad moving up from 1A. And then the top teams in Indiana would be Carmel, Guerin Catholic, HSE, and Zionsville. The top 4, and they're really competitive teams. They're full of D1 athletes. Their coaches have been coaching for 10+ years. And I'd say they're really good, but I think we have a fair chance. We have good power behind us. Our coach, he's really dedicated to pushing us and making us better. And the athletes, we all want to get better. We're all willing to show up. We have the effort and the intensity behind it. And I think if we continue to grow in the Center Grove area, we'll be a powerhouse up there, maybe ranked number 1 in the future, hopefully. But I think we have the effort.
Awesome. Emily, let's go. I want to go through real quick, you 3, and then we'll hand it back over to Coach Wood. But position you play, there's positions, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to say, is that how, I want to correct me if I'm wrong. Any verbiage I say it's wrong. I know you can't tell Coach he's wrong, but you can tell me I'm wrong, okay? All right. So position, what do you like about it? What's the main goal when you're out there on the field? What are you trying to do for your teammate in that role?
So I play midfield. I used to only play attack, but I hated it because I had to stay on one side of the field. But midfield, I can run the whole field, and I can always be involved in the game. And I mainly like attack, but I still go on the defense end just because I like to be down there and be able to get the ball, get it back to the attack side. And my main role is just to keep pushing my teammates. I think a main thing for our team this year is getting our culture and getting like the freshmen involved. So I think a big part on the field is making sure that everyone's involved in the game and everyone knows that there's like no matter what you make a mistake, you can still like come back from that. And like our coach always says, mess up fast all the time. It's always in our heads, mess up fast. Like if you drop the ball, get it and go.
Yeah, awesome. And I do want to add, just coaching seniors, awesome that you bringing freshmen up, getting them involved. I know you've got some youngsters on your team. That's part of culture, right? So great job if you continue to do that, because your legacy is more than what this season is. And just being here for a long time, your legacy is way more than the wins and losses. And so helping those youngsters come up and learn the game, because you've seen a lot more than they have, regardless of talent, right? Just being a good person, a good teammate. So great job.
Hey,
Lila, what about you?
If I pause you 1 second real quick, I think they're going to be a little more modest than what they maybe should be here on this podcast. Emily is Center Grove's all-time leading scorer.
All right, well, that's good to know.
She's got like I think literally one goal away from number 200 for her career, which is tons of goals. She is an offensive juggernaut on the offensive side. So again, she's been All-State last year and as a sophomore. So I want to have that out there because I don't think she's going to say it. I think she's a little too modest there. Yeah. And Lila was also All-State last year, so she may not say that also, but she's more of a defensive specialist. But she plays midi force now.
So I play midfield and defense. I used to only play defense, but I switched to midfield my sophomore season. I don't really know why. My old coach just told me to, so I guess I've just stuck with midfield. And I like to be in all the play, but I love to play defense. I love to deny people their goals. Like, they want a goal, but no, you can't get it. That's my most favorite part.
So what's that look like when you deny? Like, are you just kind of like standing in front of them? Like? So I'm a basketball guy.
Okay, so it's kind of like basketball. Okay. It's considered a non-contact sport for girls, but there's always contact. Your stick to skin, like, and when you're off ball, it's the exact same as defense. Like, your hands are in the air with your stick up, like in the passing lane, in their face.
Help side.
Really?
Just being
you have all that. Yeah.
Just being very big in front of them.
Yeah. Do you get to hit them?
In girls, you can't hit them.
What?
Yeah, I know. It's really sad. Yeah. But, I mean, if you do hit them, you do get a yellow card, and that's 2 minutes out, and your team's down a player.
Okay.
We could talk about that some other time.
Yeah.
Yellow cards are very sensitive for us.
We might have a little more pride in our yellow cards than we should. Because like in soccer, you're wear a girl down for a couple minutes, and if you get 2, then you're out.
Yeah.
So it's a huge disadvantage.
Yeah.
Right. So, but we like to watch them and rewind them. Like, oh man, look at this, and then we probably have more fun than we should.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I play defense. I just like to watch the girls get frustrated, like when they get stopped. It's like funny on our part. I like working as a team and like just beat them to like where they're going. It's just funny like when they get mad and then they scream at each other to like help. I don't know. It's just funny like watching people get frustrated like on our end and like working as a team and just communicating with each other. It's a very like you have to have a good connection to play defense, and all the girls we play defense with, we're all very close, and I think it just really builds the culture because we're all different grades.
So when I watch lacrosse, tell me if my perception is correct. So like, in basketball, you talk about when you're in the huddle, talk about grit and toughness and focus and tenacity and there's in the moment, if I'm guarding you on the ball and I let go of that just a little bit, I lose. I could lose. Is there just a level of that you're trying to get these kids to play at all times, Coach?
Oh yeah. I think they'll tell you what I always say about defense. Defense is effort. I feel like most people, if you're out there on the field, you could probably play defense. What differentiates a good defender versus one that's needs some work is the effort they put in and the intensity. So we're definitely striving for, flying around, getting the ball, getting to your man, helping out your teammates, and making some great stops, but communicating, being loud, and at the end of the day, giving great effort and doing it.
Yeah. Coach Wood?
Once again, we're joined by the Center Grove girls lacrosse team here at Strange Brew, and we want to thank them and More Lawn Care for hosting us today. Ladies, My next question for you, and we'll start with you, Liv, is why do you think you're the captains for the team? What do you think you bring in those roles that made you have the opportunity to be captains?
I feel like I'm a very uplifting person and overall just like a very joyful person. And I think the girls really like that and I connect with all of them. I have a very like youthful personality, so I can connect with all the girls from freshmen all the way to seniors. I think that's why I'm captain personally. I hold a good leadership, but I think it's really just to keep everyone in the right mindset, not to get down on themselves, just to keep their head high.
Lila?
I'd say I'm a captain because I have that positive mindset where I guess if the team is in the low, I try to lift everybody up and tell them that it's like, you're good, just have the effort and intensity to come back. Like, you always can come back, and you just need that positive energy as a leader on the field and off the field, and I try to do a good job, like, even when on the field, like, even though I might be frustrated, I try to get the other girls to, like, it's okay, get your mind right, you'll come back stronger than the next play, you got it. And I just connect with everybody on and off the field too. Like, we're all friends, we all try to like joke around with each other and try to have that like that leadership style where you're not just a leader and you're rude to everybody, and have that connection.
Lead by example. And Emily?
I think for myself, it's my determination and dedication. I've always been dedicated to lacrosse, and I've always tried to put my best out on the field. And then also, like, going along with that, I feel like I've built strong relationships with all my teammates. I don't feel like there's a teammate that I've either never talked to or haven't had a good conversation with. Like, I feel like I try to connect with everyone. And that goes back to, like, on the field, like, connecting all the freshmen and, like, getting to know all of them. And just, like, building those connections. And then, like I said, like, I've always tried to make it clear that we're not just a captain. We're not just, like, your authority. Like, we're the same as you. We're still your teammate. We're still, like, on the field with you. Like, we just have, like, a leadership role, but it doesn't mean that we have, like, authority necessarily over you.
A little help with that, like Kendall Arthur's our fourth one, and she's still on spring break down in Arkansas at the moment. But all four of the girls are great leaders. They're all role models. They're all people that you can talk to at a personal level. But I didn't pick them. They picked themselves. They let the team vote on it. So I didn't determine it. It was the girls determined it. So the girls spoke for themselves.
Your leadership style sounds way better because Coach Wood over here, his leadership style, he's really mean to me when we do things the wrong way. He yells at me. I mean, you see this look he's giving me right. I wish we had video right now.
I'm just going to kick the crap out of you. This is
yeah, see, like you guys will leave, and then I'll just be sitting over here in the corner like I usually am, and then, all right, so go ahead.
State championship last year. What was that experience like for each of you? Kind of reflect on a little bit.
I think it was really rewarding for me. I mean, throughout the whole season, that's all we looked to. Like, that was our main goal of the season, and like we worked just towards like our state championship. Obviously, there was other things that we worked for, but that was our main goal. And I think just like achieving that was so rewarding, and just like everyone who showed up, like being able to prove to everyone that we did it. And like in the beginning of the season, we had a lot of people who didn't believe in us and said that it would never happen or it was just like out of reach, and being able to prove to other people that we could do it and we did was just really rewarding.
How many classes are there?
There's just two.
So there's 1A and 2A, and
yeah.
So you guys got bumped at 2A?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it the same format, like you have some success at one class and you get bumped up?
Yeah, success factor.
Yeah.
It was one of the best moments of my life because our sophomore season, like my sophomore year, we also went to the state, but we got beat by not a lot, but I'd say a decently good amount. And it was just so rewarding to go back and beat the same team while it was a 7v4. We were 3 men down because we had so many yellow cards, and just to be able to keep the ball away from them for the whole fourth quarter and half of the third quarter, it was such a rewarding factor. And like then being able to be like, we just won state and we've gone 2 years in a row, is the best feeling ever. Like as a team, we were so excited, and it was a first year coach. Like he'd never played lacrosse, he's never watched it besides that season. It might have been the best feeling. Like it was so rewarding.
So do you guys practice with yellow cards, like situations being down players like that? And if so, what's the most radical number you've been down in a drill?
I think it was our state game when we were 3 men down. Like, we always practice a 3v2 or a 4v5, just always 1 man down. But we were 3, so it was like we never really practiced that, but it was our offensive end that really kept the ball. Like, we just kept passing it back and forth, like playing monkey in the middle basically with them. Because if you hold the ball for too long when you're a man down, like, you'll get 2 or 3 girls on you, and it makes it really hard to find that open pass, like, just because there's so many girls in front of you. And it just was like, it was a good offensive movement during the state game.
Having an injury before state wasn't the outcome I wanted, but watching my teammates all work together and really work as a team was really, like, exciting. And just be on the sidelines watching them work so hard and fight for every moment, for every pass, which is really, like, an exciting part to see off the field. And you could just see the determination they all had. So I think it was very just a joyful experience for the whole team as a whole.
That's awesome. Rob, before I give him one last question, do you have anything else for the ladies?
I do, and I think what's really important on this podcast and what we try to do is really highlight positivity. Obviously, you guys as student-athletes, coaches, obviously trust in your leadership. So I think what's important for I'd like for you guys, and I'll give you the question. I'll give you a second to think about it. But, I want to know who have been the most supportive in your roles as a student and as an athlete, right? So that could be teachers, that could be parents, that could be coaches, whatever. But I want you guys just to take 20, 30 seconds and just really highlight who is that support system for you. Because there's one thing that I truly believe in this community in Center Grove is that no matter your circumstances, I think that there are plenty of people or adults and friends and whoever support system that, it's important. It's important to acknowledge that, and that your success hopefully is being led by others. And so just give you a little bit of time to call out who you love, who's the best. You appreciate them, but this is a good opportunity for you guys to highlight them.
My parents have definitely helped me the most in, like, my athletics and my academics, and in all my athletics I've had such great coaches from MFL, Indy United, and Center Grove. I think Coach Jarrett has been a big role in, like, pushing me, especially for college too, and just, like, working hard and giving me almost a new mindset. I feel like I didn't have a big, like, coaching, I guess, like a really strong coach, and I feel like Coach Jarrett has helped with a lot. And also Lila, she's my best friend. I'm going to college with her. We've always, like, played together. I'm always with her. People ask if we're siblings or twins. But I think she's helped a lot too, like, pushing me and just, like, not letting me have, like, too many off days and making sure that I get back out there.
Yeah. Where are you guys going to college at?
University of Charleston, West Virginia.
West Virginia, Mountain Mama,
take me home
to the place.
I would say
we should start a show together,
we should.
Coach. With like John Denver show.
I think I just lost my position.
We'll just start singing John Denver lyrics.
I'll watch that show. Don't worry.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah,
we'll have one viewer. You.
Yeah. I'd say my biggest support system would be my mom, dad, and grandma. They've always been there to push me. Like, they're always there, even when, like, if I have a bad game, they're like, "It's okay, come back. You'll be stronger the next time." Like, and they've always pushed me. My grandma and my mom seriously have pushed me so much in my academics. Like, I hate school. I hate doing the work, but they've really just been like, "You have to keep grinding out. Like, it will benefit you in the future," and it really has. And my dad has really just pushed me to be the best athlete, and I'd say my brother too. He's really pushed me because he always made fun of me that I was worse and that I was bad, but it's really showed me that I can overcome. And, like, then all of my coaches throughout the years, the Indy United coaching staff I had, the MFL coaching staff, my Center Grove coaching staff, Coach Jarrett, and then Jason Arthur, who was my first coach, always just, like, pushed me to be the best. Like, Coach Jarrett has really pushed that, like, you're having a bad day, I don't care, get on the line, run faster, push harder. Like, the effort's always there, and Emily, we're always together.
Does he say it as nice as you just said it?
No.
Okay.
No. It's a little bit louder and
a little bit more gruff. But, yeah.
But I think that's good. It really does push me, like the whole yelling. It really is like, oh yeah, like I need to do better.
Well, I think Coach probably loves on you guys a little bit, even after he like gets after you, right? I mean.
Yeah,
right.
Sometimes. If he yells, you're in serious trouble. You need to turn it on.
You know what we say to young people: just be better. Don't make him yell. Like if you didn't do the things to make him yell, he wouldn't yell.
That's the goal. It's the goal is for us four to yell at everybody to get better. Before he yells at us.
Yeah, the whole player coaching thing. You guys have it all wrong. You just need to stop making mistakes so he doesn't get mad.
Oh yeah,
right? Pretty easy.
Perfect.
Yeah,
we'll start that. We'll start this
easy
next
format.
week.
I'm glad we have this, Coach.
Yeah.
You guys, your success is going to be way better now.
What's the next issue?
Yeah.
Solve it.
Yeah. All right, Liv, tell us.
Academically, I think my dad, he's really pushed me to be successful in my life and to want more always strive to be better in my academics. And my friend Rose, she always keeps me in line with my homework and making sure I don't fail my test. She helps me study. She used to tutor me for my math all the time because I am so bad at homework. And I think on the field, definitely my teammates like Bella, Peyton, and Lila just on defense, us four. If someone runs past me, they're always there to like say, it's okay, you got to push better. And Coach Jarrett on the sidelines always would call me over, it's like, no, it's fine, you got it. He always just like is very uplifting. So I think as a whole, it's just all people around me, like on the field, they're always just there to like make sure I'm always on my best.
Awesome. Coach.
Ladies, final question for each of you, and this is a fun question. Best Coach Jarrett moment you want to share?
My favorite moment is...
Now, keep it in mind, he can make you run, do those kind of things, but this will be recorded, and you can hold it against him if you ever need to.
I think Coach knows what this one's about to be because...
Is this the same answer for all of you?
Probably.
Okay. All right.
I have no clue.
Awesome. Well,
you know what mine is.
I don't know right now, though.
Well, we were supposed to run at the end of practice, right? That's what it is.
Oh, I do know now.
We were supposed to run at the end of practice, and we bet that if I beat him in a race, that we didn't have to go and run after practice.
Really stupid.
And he was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, let's race. So we lined up, and I'll give it to him. He was sticking with it for a little bit. He was next to me, I guess. He says he was ahead of me at first, but he was not.
What was that, like the first 2 yards?
Yeah.
First 10 meters.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And by the end, I was like, oh, where'd Coach go? Like, he's just not even by me. And he's like hunched over, and he's like, oh, I think I pulled my hamstring. And the next day, his whole hamstring is like black and blue, bruised, both of them. I mean, it was terrible, but he still, to this day, will complain about it, and I'm like, you brought that upon yourself.
That is awesome.
Yeah, that did happen.
So I was actually injured at the time, so I was sitting in the little house, that's on the field, and I could hear them, yelling, hollering about something, and I look up, and it's me and Liv. We're both injured in there, and we're looking up, and we're like, what is happening? The whole team's standing on the side, and Coach and Emily are next to each other joking around, and somebody's like, go. I'm not gonna lie, Coach had a first 2 good steps. His steps were he was fast. His takeoff was pretty good, and I was like, no way Coach is about to beat Emily. And that's when he was done. He was done for. He was hurting. He was holding his legs. We're like, what the heck? Purple. Both of his hamstrings were purple the next day. He sent us a picture. I was like, there is no way your old butt thought he was about to beat your best player right now.
Well, that's just how we think sometimes, isn't it?
That's what one of my best coaching days looked like, though, because that was true leadership. Because what I wanted to do was jump on the ground, roll around, and hold both my hamstrings. But I can't do that because then the girls that's what Coach did when he got hurt. So I feel like I can. So
he was crying to us, not to the whole team, but to us, he was really crying about it. He was like, my legs really hurt.
I feel like I got shot in both hamstrings. The first one I got shot in, the left one, and I was like, okay, I can make it through this. I'll muster through it. And then the right one went, and I was like, I don't have a chance. I'm wills. No wills.
That burn sensation.
Yeah, in both of them. And it never happened before, so I was like, what's going on?
Did you guys laugh?
Oh, yeah. It was everybody laughed. Yeah, Yeah, it was really funny. Going back to that day, he said, "I think I can shoot farther than all of you on the field." So he takes my stick and he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna throw this to one of the players." This thing goes shooting probably 100 feet in the air. It's gone. It's nowhere to be seen. He keeps trying this for probably another 20 minutes. Every single one goes 100 feet in the air. So I think he's learned how hard this sport actually is, and you can't just throw it like you think you can. It takes practice.
Yeah, I also pulled my side on that too. So.
Hey, I would maybe just stick to coaching.
Yeah, definitely do now. Yeah. I'm more of a sayer than a doer.
Yeah. Motivational speaker.
Yeah.
Ladies, as we wrap up our segment here with you, seasons resumes here. I mean, you're in spring break right now. Practice games start with again the 31st on Monday, or kind of
next weekend, the game next Saturday.
This will be going live probably tomorrow. So, what are some upcoming dates that you want to get some fans out there to support you? Those kind of thoughts.
I know we have
On not this Saturday, but the next, we have a game at home. It's at 12:30. And then
we have our next home game is April 10th at 7:30, and then our senior day is April 19th at 12:30. Our youth night is May 5th at 7:30, and then our teacher appreciation night is our last home game, May 6th against Noblesville at 7:30.
Well, ladies, we appreciate you very much joining us for this part of our segment here with with Coach Jarrett and talking about girls lacrosse. Thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the year to you, and I couldn't think of three better people Coach could have brought in today for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys did great. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, ladies.
Coach, now let's kind of take the opportunity and let's kind of start back a little bit for you. And obviously you're a Martinsville guy who played down at Martinsville for football. Then your focus was punting, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was it strictly punting? Were you a place kicker as well?
I did that too. That was just kind of like out of necessity. Just seemed to be like something I always done. So just kept doing it, I guess. I was the emergency kicker at Michigan State also. Like if first guy on scholarship went down, and then the next guy, and there was a bus wreck. They couldn't have us like the president, vice president, couldn't be on the same bus together in case one went down. Then I was still able to be the backup kicker, but it was predominantly punting. Yeah.
So, for me, I mean, I had a chance to talk to you quite a bit since we're close to each other in the building, teaching-wise. What's it like to play for Coach Saban at Michigan State?
Well, I was just thinking about that the other day because I saw one of his many commercials that he has on TV. He's like doing the Airbnb or whatever, and he's talking about the rules and whatever. And that's kind of how I remember him because to me he wasn't the, as the kids say, he wasn't the GOAT yet. He was still at Michigan State. He still hadn't get into LSU or Miami or where he ultimately ended up in Alabama. Michigan State was probably a stepping stone from the NFL back into college for him. And so he wasn't that guy to me yet. But you saw the flashes of the greatness that he had and the respect that he demanded from everybody, and the work ethic that you had to give. And I mean, you could have 110 guys, college kids, in a meeting room, and getting loud and boisterous and just kind of being a little crazy, letting the steam off, if you will. And as soon as that door opened up and you saw his face, I mean, there's 110 guys, boom, sitting down, elbows on the desk, hats off, earrings out. He's big on that, and you didn't say a word, and then you could hear a pin drop. So that's the respect that he demanded as soon as you walked in. And then he coached secondary. That was his position. So he's really, really hard on them, and demanded excellence, and that carried over to everybody. And he was someone that as harsh as this probably sounds, we flip the other side off the field, he'd have your back, and even if you're wrong, he's still going to support and have your back, and then it was one-on-one, hey, you got to do this right next time. I hope you learned your lesson. I'm going to support you, and he always did. So he's really a player's coach. It was just not the kind of player's coach that most people think about, laughing and telling jokes, kind of goofing off with you a little bit. He wasn't that kind of player's coach. He was more of a hey, I got your back at all costs. You're one of my guys. I love you. I'm going to do anything I can to help support you and grow. And that's kind of what I feed off of from my days with Coach Saban.
And do you think with like Coach Saban was more, but there has to be a return in that though, right? Like he has your back, but you had to live up to his standard though, right?
Yeah, well, I had to perform too. No question about it. He set the standards, and if you weren't reaching or approaching it or beating it, then he was going to let you know.
Yeah, he'll let you know, right?
And demand it. He'd always tell me, because he had an affinity for punting, I believe, at some point in his life, where he'd always stay after practice and stand behind me and kind of watch and be like, hey, just be the best. I mean, he couldn't tell you anything about punting. Had no idea what it, any technique or fundamentals of it, but hey, just be the best. And I'm like, well, we need to just be the best. He's like, just be the best. And I always took that as like the best out there. Not the best in the Big Ten, the best in the college sports. So that's kind of how he was for sure, and that's where he's got the success he's got to him, right?
Quick questions, kind of off beat, but maybe we're going to circle back about those hamstrings. So how the heck, as a punter, because you had to have some really good hamstrings for a while. How do those things explode when you're just running now?
Well, I tell you, if you
don't age? Is it old age?
Yeah, if you don't use them as much, then that kind of goes away. Yeah,
you're not stretching.
Like I used to be able to jump a little bit too, and I can't jump at all anymore. Yeah. But so the truth was this: she forgot to say this part. They were trying to get out conditioning is what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And she'd asked
me.
It
sounds like they did.
Yeah, well, it sure did. Yeah, we canceled a little short.
Practice was over.
Yeah, but she'd been hounding me like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, "Hey, come on, you say you're coach, you need to be pretty fast." Or, "Oh, you played in the NFL, coach, or you played in college football, you gonna let a little girl beat you?" And then the last time she was playing my vanity too much, I was like, "Hey, fine." I took my keys out my pocket, my phone down, let's go. And snap.
Yeah. Practice over.
Yeah, practice over. Good job, girls.
So Michigan State there 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
What's that experience like playing college football? And I actually just went up to Michigan State. I don't know what the stadium's called, but saw IU play there. What's that environment? What was that environment like for you? The 4 years going on the road, playing at home. Big Ten football. What was that like?
Oh, it was an amazing experience. It taught me a lot about life in general, really. And being from Martinsville, I'd not really left the state of Indiana a whole lot until, getting to East Lansing and seeing the diversity and different cultures and, player backgrounds and, just my own teammates, right?
Yeah.
And then, I think maybe the most people I've ever played at in high school was maybe 5,000 people playing a game against Ben Davis at some point. And then, my first game was 85,000, which is, pretty big. And then, you go to Michigan, go to Notre Dame, go to Penn State, and they're all over 100,000. So that was pretty crazy. My mindset and like I kind of instilled in the girls was I didn't really matter about the crowd as much to me because I wanted to be the best. And when I got out there, if I dropped a great punt, then I was like, hey, I want to get out there and do it again.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't have one, I'm like, whoa, that's not who I am. This is more me than I want the opportunity again. So I was always striving to get out there and get to do it again, And that's what the girls do. Like, hey, if you heard them say earlier, if you mess up fast, we play fast around here. Everyone's going to make mistakes. It's how you respond to it. And that's kind of the mindset I kind of bring from football to that for them.
Yeah. What year were you at Martinsville?
I graduated in 98, so I think 95 was my freshman year.
So you were there in that good run of Martinsville football then.
Oh yeah.
That was
Hannaford, Israel Thompson.
Yeah, back Mitchell football. Yep.
That was a good stretch right there.
That was excellent. It was great. It was that was the gold standard for us there for many years where we just kept reloading talent.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of like Center Grove had a little bit of talent. It wasn't like Coach Moore like where he's at now, but then you got Bloomington South had some talent.
Yeah.
Martinsville had Southern Indiana football was pretty good.
Yeah, Bloomington South's like one of those words we don't say around because that was our big rival there back in the day.
Yep.
Like we weren't allowed to wear purple or any of that stuff.
Yep.
On Fridays you certainly do wear purple. But yeah, Coach Siderwitz and Center Grove connection is his son Joe is quarterback coach, co-offensive coordinator here at Center Grove, and actually just lives across the street from me. So we've kind of gone full circle.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Once again, we're joined by Craig Jarrett and the girls lacrosse coach at Center Grove. We're here at Strange Brew on this beautiful Saturday morning. We also want to thank More Lawn Care for supporting our podcast. And Craig, kind of take us through now. You've done a variety of different things when it comes to punting at the Michigan State level. You had the opportunity to go to the NFL. Talk about that experience and what you learned from that experience as a whole.
Yeah, so, excuse me, I kind of alluded to it earlier. I think for me, I mean, it was a complete blessing, so I don't want to take it the wrong way, but, when I got to the NFL, when I was drafted by Seattle, the first thing I learned immediately was it was a business decision for Seattle. They didn't want to pay the guy they had there at the moment another $1 million. So drafting me kind of even the salary cap between the two of us and kind of make him go down from what he really wanted to take. And that was interesting to me because I was like, wow, I thought I was picked because that's what they wanted me, And then it's kind of like I was a backup plan being drafted, which was kind of crazy. And then, from there to the next spot, I felt like I'd been
7 rounds of the draft, right?
Yeah, I was in the 6th round. Yep. So, I go to the next place, and I was in San Francisco, and Bill Walsh, the college great, was like, "Hey, you're our guy. Go home, pack." So I went back to Martinsville, and I was at the YMCA, and tell my buddies, "Hey, I'm a Niner," And then a month goes by, nothing. And then finally they call and they put me on the practice squad. I was there for like literally a week. True story. I think I punted 3 footballs in the 6 days I was there. Somebody got hurt during the game on Sunday, and then they cut me to bring up another defensive end that got hurt. So then I fly to D.C. Literally the next day. I've been in Martinsville for like 8 hours. I go to the Redskins workout, and then was signed the next day. Was there for another 2 weeks in practice squad, and then got cut because they needed someone else again. Ended up going back to Martinsville, and then I was down in Kentucky at my grandmother's house on Thanksgiving Day. Their punter was holding the ball, and the kick extra point got blocked, and he had a real low face mask, the old school kind of guy still, hanging around there still.
Yeah.
Well, he took a knee right to his nose, and it just literally exploded. So then I played the last 4 games with them, the Redskins that is, and then was released and picked off of waivers by the Texans right after that. And that was one of those spots where, again, I learned another lesson where I was like, hey, I have a 51-yard average on 150 punts throughout the preseason, which was compared to the other guy, same amount of punts, but his average was 41. So that's literally 1,500 yards difference, which is huge. But, Dom Capers, the coach, says, hey, we had this guy, Chad. His name's a great guy. Nothing personal against him by any means, but we know what Chad's doing. Who's with us with the Niners last year because the Texans were an expansion team at the time. We kind of know what we're getting, so we're going to keep Chad. Oh, okay, cool. So there's a lesson number 2, right? And then, from there I'm in Cincinnati, and I feel like I did a great job there. I called my agent and was like, hey, I just had a great job workout with the Bengals here. But this other guy and the coach were, talking about the kids and the properties. Like, how do they know each other? He's like, oh, well, this guy was the special teams coach in Baltimore, and he was his punter there. So what happens, they cut the guy in Cincinnati that they had, and they signed this guy. So then literally to the day, the next day, to the week on Tuesday, I go up to Detroit, and the guy that they just released in Cincinnati is the guy I'm going against in Detroit. And I'm like, okay, hey, in Detroit, I got some connections here. My old, after Saban, Bobby Williams, my football coach, he was the running back coach in Detroit. And then a guy named Adam Gase was a graduate assistant at Michigan State that I knew pretty well. He became the Miami Dolphins head coach later on. He was a quality control guy for the Lions with the quarterback coach there. I was like, hey, I got a pretty good end. And he actually came up to me and said, hey, our punter now never hits the roof here. And I'd been hitting the roof like, back to back to back to back, and kind of doing it intentionally because it kind of took out some guesswork for me. It's like, hey, I hit the roof and whatever. But so I felt pretty good about it. And then I'm in the kitchen having a lunch afterwards, and Steve Mariucci and Matt Millen walk in. So they got the coach and the president of the organization walking in, and they're like, hey, Nicky, baby. And Nick was the guy I was going against. And I was like, oh, man, not again. And they kept Nick, and, he was there for the next 8 years. And that was about year 3 at this point. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Tampa, and, let's probably see where we're at. And I went there early. I did all those things right, like show up early, be the last one to leave. And I was just a punter, nothing as far as quarterback goes, right? And then I think I did all those things, and then they drafted, had the draft class come in. We had maybe 2 of the 3 mini camps that we had at the time. And then they brought in this other punter to compete with me, and didn't say anything for a little while. Then a couple weeks go by, and I saw in the morning paper that they gave him $1 million signing bonus. And once that happened, I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And then back to East Lansing from there. I mean, went back and became a graduate assistant with Coach Mark D'Antonio once he first got there.
So, as a dad of some kids that are involved in different sports, and we'll use your son as an example since we both know your son, what things do you think you can help him through that process, as he may have opportunities, be it in basketball or something else, that you had to learn the hard way, that hopefully you can help him go through and navigate in the world of sports today as he gets into that high school and hopefully looking at collegiate opportunities down the road for something?
Sure. I think, even for the lacrosse girls, I said it earlier, and back to the NFL just for a second, what a big thing that was taught for me was I never lived in the moment when I was in the NFL. It was the coolest thing that could happen to me. It was my childhood goal to get there. And then as I'm there living it, I'm like, well, what's next? What's the next goal? I just got my goal. Where do I go from here? And in doing so, I wish I would take more of time to live in the moment and be like, wow, this is crazy. Enjoy the things that I was doing, the opportunities that presented to me. Taking time to live that moment versus what's coming next. What I got to do next? What I got to do next? And it's the same thing I tell the girls, hey, we're making this last year. We're making this state championship run. Slow down. Enjoy this. It's going to be gone so fast, and then you'll never get it back. It's going to be gone. So not living with regret, something that I tell the girls and my own kids all the time. I just was telling Jace yesterday, hey, he didn't want to go in the gym and shoot. We shot 5 days in a row, and he didn't want to yesterday. I was like, hey, you don't want to wake up one day and be like, man, I wish I would have done this, because that's what regret feels like. And that's a huge lesson I learned from the NFL, to live in the moment, be present. If there's something out there you want, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be necessarily sports, right? Hey, you want this opportunity for this or that, go give it a try. Otherwise you're going to be like, man, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that. You don't want to live with those regrets. You don't want to wake up being 45 years old, like, oh, man, I wish I would have done that. I never did. Now you don't have the opportunity. It's gone. It's passed you by. So that, and just I think there's a different mindset involved to a lot of athletes that make it to the pinnacle. I think a lot of kids these days oh, man, I went out there and worked hard. Well, what'd you do? Oh, I shot 100 free throws and I did this. Well, did you work on conditioning? The best players on any team are always the ones in the best shape. What else did you do? I didn't do this. Would you work on defense? No, I just shot. So, well, okay, we work on one thing, and you think you're better than us. So I was like, but I guarantee, just in Center Grove alone, there's other kids doing that same exact thing. So, and that's just here in this area. So what about the surrounding area? And then, the county, the state, the country, right? So, pushing yourself to be more than what you think you need to, and then not giving up. I feel like a lot of kids these days, they get to that limit to where they can't go any farther, and they need to be pushed a little bit more, because that pain that they have, and you guys know how it is, when they're doing conditioning at the end of practice, they think they're done. They can't run anymore, right? And then what happens 5 minutes later when practice is over? They got their bag, taking their shoes off, changing shoes, they're goofing off, laughing. That pain that they just had's gone. Yeah. So let's push a little bit more and get more out of it, and then, I think that's just how you get the success. So.
Yeah, and I think that is true, right? I mean, that we all have kids, and that's one thing. My oldest is going to go play at the next level, and the big philosophy where he's planning to go, right, is that I'm bringing guys in that don't even know what they are yet. We know there's more, and it's their job to get it out of them, right? And
absolutely.
And so I think that's important for young people to understand and know, regardless of what level, is that it can always be better, right? And if you're not getting better, you're going to get worse.
Yeah, or stay the same.
Or stay the same.
And get caught.
And which is just as bad.
Right, because then everybody else is passing you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we kind of went into a little bit background, Martinsville. We're here, Center Grove, Lacrosse. How long have you been teaching? I used to run around, I think, into you 5-6 years ago, just, hey, what's up, whatever. And then obviously now you're here doing your thing. So kind of give us, that point where you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do, and then lacrosse is going to be part of this.
Yes. Oh, I mean, coaching was like always a passion of mine, something that I always wanted to do. Like I went back after NFL, I went back to Michigan State and became a graduate assistant. So my path was, going to be college football.
Yeah.
And then, being a GA for 2-3 years, it's kind of burning you out a little bit. That mindset of a college coach is you got to be there first before the head coach, and then you can't leave until the head coach leaves.
Yeah.
So there were nights where literally sitting around doing nothing but waiting on Coach D'Antonio to leave, and he'd come in and be, hey, guys got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And kick us out. He's a great guy, a great mentor of mine actually too. So then, eventually I was like, okay, I'm getting pushed this direction to go to a D3 school, and everybody else is like, no, you need to stay in D1 because like you want to, fight tooth and nail. They got to kick you out. You want to stay there as long as you can. And then I was like, well, I don't know what's best, but I know this. I know I've not been in Indiana for a long time. It's been like 10 years since I've lived back in Indiana. I have no roots, no significant other, no family to speak of that's, with me. So I was like, I'll go back and coach high school football instead. So then I came back to Indiana, and I went to University of Indianapolis to get my master's in teaching, essentially. And then, I took a job at Pendleton Heights for a year, and, wanted to be closer to home and in the area. So I did that for a year, and then ended up at Martinsville for a year. And then prior to that, though, I got paused for 1 second because I got in this sports medicine supplies selling for a few years before that. And it was just, my first year as a teacher, it wasn't enough to support a family.
Yeah.
My wife was starting law school, and, my first son's born. So it's like, okay, teaching's not getting it done right now. So maybe I can come down the road. And eventually, once things start going and the family starts growing a little bit, my wife's on her feet and her career and established, and she started to flourish. Gave me the opportunity to get back into teaching, and then coaching just kind of happened, I guess, where, I've been asking Coach more. I want to be involved in what I got to do, and he's gracious enough to come on out, and I worked out for a couple of years, and then you guys know how this is, and it's being a coach is a certain dedication. You miss out on a lot of stuff on family things that those are those memories that you can't get back, and those some part of the regret.
You're talking about living in the moment, right? Living in the moment,
and then the regret at the same time. So there has to be a balance of family life and this, and my wife's constantly hounding me like, hey, get off the phone, because I'll be Googling lacrosse plays on my phone as I'm laying there in bed,
That's how us dudes are, man. That's how us dudes are.
And I think it's a good thing, I need to get off the phone and stuff for sure, but at the same time, like, I don't want to let those 35 girls down either, I know. So that's the other side.
It's a hard thing as a dad.
Yeah.
And I do think, you made a comment to the girls about, they had one day off maybe, or not even a day, and the next day they're right. And that's where, I hope that through our conversations on this, and I'm kind of overloading this segue here, but I think it's important. We only have like 5 listeners, maybe 6 listeners, maybe. So
we're up to 8 now.
We might get a couple more with you guys now, but I do think it's important that the message that people do hear, that coaches like you, right, that they're they're volunteer parents. There's people that are serving on the board at Lacrosse. There are a lot of people that are dedicated, not just these 35 girls, but just a program coming behind them to enrich, right? A program in a community that takes so much time away from your family and the people that love you, right? And that want you. And I hope people understand that. Like, it's one thing coming up and like, oh, coach is an idiot or this or that. People get mad or my kid didn't play. We all have that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But at the end of the day, we're not the ones on the sidelines every day trying to motivate the same kid that we're yelling at home to eat their dinner.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. 100%.
And so I hope people just understand that there's a lot of commitment, and appreciate you as a coach. I mean, because it is a lot. It is a lot that you have to endure and go through. And I know starting a program is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, it's not just me by any means. I think
Correct.
It's every coach. You guys have both coached and coaching now. You guys deal the same thing that I've been experiencing. I've never experienced it from the head coach side. Assistant coach is a little different. You get to come and go a little more as you please. But being the head coach, like, the face of the program.
Yeah.
And, when you say the face of the program, it isn't just high school. It goes down to the youth league, which, my daughter just turned 8. She's on the U8 team, so she's playing. So really, for us to be successful down the road, we have to get those girls now in lacrosse here to be the team we want to be. And that's just like every other sport. It's the football program here. Yeah. It's Coach Moore's plan that he implemented, when he first got here years ago, where, hey, I'm going to get these guys on the same, plays. You're going to be used to by the time they get to middle school, my high school. Yep. They all do the same stuff. Now we're just coaching talent. Yep. And that's something we have to do to grow the sport in Center Grove specifically. I think my girls kind of get it. I think they know the sacrifice and they know the stuff. But I try to. My son Jace comes to most practice after school. He'll come with me. My daughter Maya, once it's starting to get warmer, she'll come and she'll go through the drills. And the coaches' kids always have a little bit of an edge because they're around it more. So Maya's kind of gravitated towards scooping it and shooting and passing it. So she likes it, and I think she likes her daddy being involved in it. It's my wife that has to pay the biggest price, I think, because she's doing the job and the workload at home. Yeah. And then coming to games, I think, is what makes it feel like to her it's worthwhile. Because then she's like, oh, this is the final product that she gets to finally see. Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely.
She's the true champion then.
Yeah, she gets
totally
to start.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
Once again, joined by Craig Jarrett as we wrap up our segment here with him, the girls lacrosse coach here. And, Coach, I think my last question for you comes from the standpoint of our whole focus of this show is, and this is someone you knew, is Gary Robinson. And Gary Robinson always has the saying, there's more than Center Grove in the world. But there's a lot of really good things that make Center Grove a special place to a lot of people. Is kind of our perspective and our mission for this show. What does the Center Grove community mean to you and your entire team as a whole for the experiences that you've had over the last 5-10 years? I mean, what does this place mean to you?
Yeah, so being an artesian moving into the area.
I'm actually going to send this directly to Ryan Wolf down in Martinsville so he can spread it out.
Yeah, great. I won't be able to show my face on there, right?
No,
yeah. To be honest with you, Center Grove was that rival we had in Martinsville. Was like a budding rivalry, right? Like Center Grove when I was in school. Yeah. Was nowhere near where they are right now.
It is, it was different back then.
Way different. And it'd be hard for people to understand.
Fights.
It
was,
Yeah, well, it's in Martinsville Waste is much smaller now than it is then. Yeah. I think Martinsville actually was probably larger than Center Grove at the time. So it didn't matter if it was track, football, basketball,
it was.
It's kind of the country kids versus the quote-unquote rich kids for the while there, You'd hear the chant even, actually, I don't think I can say it on the podcast, but you'd hear the chants, in the student sections, and then, battering out, and then, shaking hands and high-fiving after the game, the handshake line. So, then running to those guys at the mall was always fun too. So, use teammates with them too, the North-South All-Star game for football or, AAU in basketball. So it was I knew the Center Grove guys that I played against. So it wasn't anything, crazy. It was just a good budding rivalry, like I said. And, so moving in from that to here, I feel like I was accepted right away. And being in the education world, where you're, trusted to teach their kids, that's easy, easy move is to be accepted because, well, he's what's the best interest for our kids here. And then I think that compounds when you're coaching the kids too. For me personally, Coach D'Antoni was my mentor in coaching, and he's always said, hey, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that's something I kind of take and kind of demonstrate. And I've been accepted since I've got here, and my wife also, my kids. And, I feel like we've embedded in the community now, and, we're Trojans now. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Craig, we very much appreciate you and the girls joining us here today from Strange Brew and a chance to kind of talk about lacrosse a little bit more, their experiences, their best moments of Craig Jarrett as a coach, as well as your expectations for that program, which are very clear. And I think the rapport and the relationship you have with your girls is very positive based on how they are today, how I see them in the hallway after school. And it's very exciting to see as things continue to evolve for the girls lacrosse program and the boys lacrosse program. We hope to have them on the programs here as well. So
I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, and I just want to echo too, Coach. You know, I think it's important that, you know, we do spread if we have a platform, and that's kind of why we wanted you on here. And we joke about the listeners and that. But, you know, as we continue to do this and we get more listeners, like, you know, we want to be able to highlight programs like lacrosse. And, you know, we've talked about the fine arts and some other things in our community because that's what makes us great.
Sure.
And they're passionate, awesome people like yourself working with awesome student athletes, right? And so that's what we want to do. So if there's anybody else down the line within the lacrosse program, you know, I'd love to hear from you. Let's get them on, continue to keep this going. But I want to wish you just amazing luck for the rest of the year. I appreciate you coming out here, and, you know, we're going to be huge supporters of you guys.
Well, thanks again for having us. Absolutely. Thanks again.
Again, that's Craig Jarrett and the girls lacrosse head coach for your Center Grove Trojans. Thanks again for listening to this podcast. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you again soon.